We got about 10 seconds till we go live on the air. What's up, everybody? For the next 2 hours, I'm going to be your host. My name is Matt, the Grass Factor. Morning! I've been waiting to do that all day for whatever reason. What up, Robert Palmer? How are you, good sir? What up, everybody enjoying this Friday? Finally, we got a nice, beautiful Friday for the first time in a long while right here in Canucks, Vegas. Relatively cool outside. It feels like up to this point, we've kind of made our way through the worst of the heat, but as anybody who's ever worked in the transition knows, it ain't over until the heat is over. You know, we had one of those weird instances last year, or the year before, where it was still 90 degrees in October. So we may not be out of the thick of it yet, but right now, we doing all right. I apologize for the music. I'm using one of those sound services to play in the background because, again, this is going to be streaming on YouTube too. If you're interested in that thing, you know, it's just there and it's available. You can go over to youtube.com/C/The Grass Factor and you'll be live right there. I think there's another way to do it too. thegrassfactor.net. You can go to thegrassfactor.net, watch the live stream there as well. But, of course, the primary way you're out there working, you need to listen, you need to be hands-free. How do you get it done? You go to turfsupradio.com, you listen there, or you download the app. Super easy to do. How easy is it to download an app? Super easy. Download an app, the Turfs Up Radio app. Simple, easy to use, great for on the go, so you can be hands-free. Or you can even launch with Alexa. Super easy. You can tell your device, your Amazon device, your Amazon Echo, hey, launch Turfs Up Radio. You may have to set it up as a saved action or something of the sort there, but if you do it, it'll open, and you can broadcast it throughout your house if you got a device in every house. For all the audio experts out there, one of the things I want to do is I want to put audio throughout my house, and I don't know exactly how to do that. Maybe one of you audiophiles can teach me how to do that. Because I would really like it. If I got to get a new receiver, whatever the case may be, I don't care. I'll just put the time in to figure it out somehow, some way. I actually enjoy projects like that. I end up breaking more than I end up solving, but, you know, it is what it is. We're gonna have a fun show today. I was looking at all the different things I plan on talking about, and I couldn't make up my mind in which direction I wanted to go. So I figure, hey, what the hell? We'll kind of just freewheel it. We will freewheel it and see where we end up. Of course, if you have questions that pertain to lawn care or turf grass or managing ornamentals or landscape shrubs, something of the sort like that, by all means, you can submit those to me and I will do my best to get to them. And I'll do my best to provide you with accurate information. May not be the most perfect of accurate information, but it is indeed. Remotely accurate. How about that? I can give you a starting point. We're gonna do a weed of the day today. I think we just got to. And for those of you that are on a cool season grass, I think we need to have another conversation about Sure Power, because it's the time of year. It is that time of year where if you're looking for something broadleaf wise that you can get a hold of, that you can get figured out, somebody just tagged me in a picture here and asked, will Xsoil help new constructions lawn like this, or do they need to be stripped with topsoil brought in? Nope, that's the whole premise. Take your existing soil and turn it into topsoil by amending it with something that's nutrient rich. Nothing too terribly complicated there. I mean, I feel like Xsoil is one of those big unknown properties. I mean, what do you call it? Products. I don't know. I guess there may be some people out there that have never applied organic matter to the lawn and just have no idea what the value is there. You know, when people are talking about managing the soil and using your whatever you do to manage the soil to manage your plants, you know, one of the things you do is you apply materials that are going to be nutrient rich that are released secondarily through activity in the soil, right? Through microbial activity. You know, it's why you kind of take one of those things, it's why you take a piece of organic matter, you can't dissolve it in water and then pour it out and expect to get any real nutrient release from it, because it has to go through a secondary release. Something has to break it down. If it gets fully digested, that's when your nutrients become available. Listen to this song. This is ridiculous. What was I going to look up? Somebody asked about foxtail control in St. Augustine. Your control product would be Celsius. Celsius is a great all-around tool for St. Augustine grass, and I think that would be your best bet for it. Somebody also said, how's the Burnt Shed GoFundMe going? Yes, Ridge, I am. We never did do a GoFundMe for the shed. I'm not interested in replacing it, so I'm not worried about it at all. Lushy's driving around with a bunch of Xsoil in the back of his truck. I can only imagine what that's like. I tell you what you do is get you a handful and drop your filter for the recirculating air, and just put a handful right there. Let it make its way into your life that way. It'll stay with you for a long period of time. Somebody asked, how many video displays do I have? I guess you're asking about monitors. I have 4. I have 4 main monitors right here, and then I have a laptop over here that I seldom use. And the reason why I like 4 is that way I can have my email going in one, I can have my freight board going in another, and then in another I can have what is the word I'm looking for? My production board, where I can see what's in the queue that's getting ready to come up as far as what's ready to be manufactured. And then I can have a free monitor over here for doing whatever it is I need to do. Most of the time it has to do with Excel. So I run 4 monitors. Right now over here I've got the Discord going. If you're interested in the Discord, it's kind of the show between the show before the show, after the show. TheLawnDiscord.com. Shout out to OG Discorder J Pink for setting up that URL. What's up, Aldo? Glad you made it, sir. You haven't really missed anything to date. I've just had many consecutive dramatic pauses for no real reason. So like I said, today we're going to talk a little bit about Sure Power. I don't know, should we talk about Celsius? We can talk about Celsius and at least how versatile of a product it is there. I don't know, let's see what happens, man. It's Friday. I went out in the backyard today. I got this new ammo in, and so I went out in the backyard today and fired a couple test rounds. And the 45 ACP came with an aluminum case. I've never shot a 45 ACP with an aluminum case. And then also some 10 millimeter rounds. No, the 10 millimeter rounds had an aluminum case. The 45 ACP had a steel case. First time I've ever shot non-brass rounds like that. Now I've shot nickel-plated brass, but nothing direct, just a complete and total alternative metal. Yeah, you want to talk about the socks bin? We can talk about gallery. We can scroll through there. I don't think there's necessarily a lot to dissect with gallery. Again, it's another pre-emergent. It's primarily going to be effective in annual broadleaf weeds. We can talk about nitrogen on brown patch. I don't think I need to talk about that right now because I talked about the other day the new study that came out from NC State University and who was the other one? University of Nebraska at Lincoln, that showed managing brown patch had a lot to do with managing the growth rate of the grass. And oddly, the more the grass was growing, the less pressure from brown patch. And so there was a recommendation of going ahead and applying a little bit of nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium and micronutrients through the course of the growing season, and not just limiting yourself to nitrogen only. All right, real quick, I'm going to take a break. When we come back, let's start diving into this. You're listening to Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Hey everybody, it's Brooke Ford, host of The Green Veteran here on Turfs Up Radio. Be sure to check me out every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. You're going to hear some great one-on-one interviews with green industry professionals. We're going to talk about best business practices, highlight innovative products, and also provide some insight into some new emerging technologies in the field. That's The Green Veteran, airing each Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And remember, Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Playing the best music.
Hands down and dirty. Turfs Up Radio.
Turfs Up Radio.
Turfs Up Radio.
Turfs Up Radio. Turfs Up Radio. Turfs Up.
Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Hey guys, it's Frank Borg. More lawn care pros are working on their business rather than in them with the Lawn Buddy app. Lawn Buddy puts you in the driver's seat right along with your employees, helping you to guide them through their work while you focus on growth. With the Lawn Buddy app, you'll be more confident that work is being done and more money is being made faster. To learn how Lawn Buddy can help your lawn care business, visit lawnbuddy.com or simply download the Lawn Buddy app today. Great job, guys.
Hey Green Industry Pros, Turfs Up Radio is celebrating what a great first year we had and wants to give you $100 just for being involved. That's right, all you have to do is visit turfsupradio.com/shout out for 100 and follow a few easy steps. When you hear your name live on the radio, we're going to send you a crisp $100 bill. So be sure to visit turfsupradio.com/shout out for 100 to claim your cash. And remember, Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
All right, we were back. Got everything kind of sorted on my end here. All right, so I said I would talk a little bit about Celsius, and so let's go ahead and do that. What I like about Celsius, right? So all you cool season guys, put your fingers in your ear. Steve Willie's here. Steve Willie, one of my favorite people alive. For those of you who don't know, you see Steve Willie in the chat right here on YouTube. Steve Willie has made me laugh harder than maybe anybody else I've ever met. He's gotten in trouble a couple times making people laugh, and he does it out of love. And some people, his efforts to make people laugh out of love are seen as being a little too aggressive. But I promise, Steve Willie's the nicest guy in the entire world, and he's hilarious. I think Paul Outlaw knows what I'm talking about. Steve, Paul Outlaw and I have many conversations about you. I have visited neither Catch One or the Mouse's Ear, so I can't give you a preference there. I can only imagine what Catch One is in terms of a place of business. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to all plan a trip together, Steve. I'm glad you're here, sir. What's up, the Lawn Guardian? I'm glad that is working out too. That's great. When I saw it, it wasn't over the top, so he was dealing with one of those real bad instances of multiple different factors where you probably had more than one disease in the lawn and an incredibly high pH, and the lawn had become completely non-responsive to fertilizer in general. So, the idea there is to kind of start picking off things as aggressively as you can. Number one, obviously moving the needle on the pH is going to be the biggest bang for your buck and quickest in terms of return on investment, because then fertilizer will start working. And in combination with that, kind of the great thing about it is that you can also start working on mitigating disease at the same time. So it becomes a three-part process. Make your fertilizer more available, apply fertilizer, and control the disease. 1, 2, 3, in succession, bam, taken care of. You're good to go. So what I love about Celsius is its flexibility and the range of applicable uses and the range of weeds controlled. Celsius is one of those that, as a tank mix companion, it just really shines. Now, there are some caveats to using it. If it's not hot outside, it's probably not worth spraying. I'll give you that. If it's not hot outside, you're not going to get the action out of it. It might start to roll around 3 weeks later or something of the sort, maybe. Maybe it consists of primarily dicamba, but you have to remember at the rate at which it's going down, you're still not applying just a significant amount of dicamba when you're putting down Celsius. So it's not the same of going and getting a 2.5 of Banville or Vanquish and and applying it that way. It's not. It's just different. Because in that instance, if you're applying a gallon, well, you're not applying a gallon. I'm telling you that right now. But the reason why it kind of works out is because it works as a nice diversification of the other active ingredients, which are ALS inhibitors. Real quick, I'll move back to it. Over here in the chat, I got asked about spraying a humic acid on bare dirt before seeding. In my opinion, no, because, again, the interaction between humic acid and phosphorus. Here, I will post a link to this here. And then if you want to read more into the study about humic acid making phosphorus unavailable, I'll also post a link to that in the chat as well. So, there we go. Oh, man, the link is too long. Here, I'll do it like this. That worked. So, Celsius. Now, we've demonstrated that. We understand now we need to be applying it when it's warm. We know there's going to be a slight just because of the dicamba in it. So where you want to be careful using it if you're spraying surface roots underneath a tree. Yeah, applying something like that contains dicamba to exposed roots that have moved their way to the surface. Dicamba works particularly well on woody tissue, plants that have high amounts of woody tissue. That's why it's primarily used in like railroads to clear the brush on railroads. Okay, sorry, I had to answer that question. So knowing it has that power to keep, to kill trees, but also keep trees out of the way, it opens up a certain amount of carefulness you have to employ when you should choose to run Celsius. Now, the great thing about it, especially depending on where you are, is that it's one product that you can run in the tank and have the flexibility to be able to run on centipede, St. Augustine, Bermuda grass, zoysia grass. Can't put it on paspalum, can't put it on bahia grass. But if you run those four types, turf types, you're in the Alabama market. Thinking like Birmingham. You're in the Georgia market or South Georgia market. You're in coastal Carolina. Coastal North Carolina. It's something you can do. It's a great product that is tolerant across all those turf types. Now, all those asking here, how does Celsius compare to Tribute Total? Well, here's the thing. Tribute Total is, in effect, a combination of Celsius plus Revolver plus Prosedge, halosulfuron. So I believe it's thiocarbazone, iodosulfuron, formsulfuron. Boy, Nicholas, I just read your comment right there and I got totally distracted. Formsulfuron and halosulfuron, all of those combined. Formsulfuron being Revolver, halosulfuron being Sedgehammer, Prosedge, whatever you want to call it. It's a combination of all those. Now, one of the great tools and one of the great uses for something like Celsius is combining it with Revolver to go after grassy weeds. That's where that product has really shined over the years. And it kind of took the place that when MSMA went away, originally Celsius was sold, it was brought to the market as the replacement. Man. Look at this. So, for those of you who can't see here, there's someone who just commented in the chat, and his name is Matt Martin Sucks. And he said, Matt Martin, you're very unprofessional. Glad to see your last one got pulled. No one likes an opinionated, loudmouth asshole. Won't stop, got paint to watch, dry. He gone. Listen, Mr. Matt Martin Sucks. One, you do not have the testicular fortitude to show your true identity, which to me tells me about everything I need to know about you as a human being. Number two, if you should find it within your heart to take it upon yourself to be aggressively pessimistic and negative towards someone like Ryan Knorr, you, sir, have something wrong mentally. The fact that you got blocked from the channel took the time out of your day to make a new, totally, completely available alias to circumvent the block that was placed upon you so you could comment again. And when that third one was blocked, you made another account now titled Matt Martin Sucks so you could shift your anger over to someone like me. Boy, what do you do in this world that contributes to society? What positives could you possibly bring upon humankind that makes the world a better place? Because Mr. Matt Martin Sucks, I will tell you right here. At the end of the day, if you do not agree with what I have to say, your first opportunity and the right you have as a human being is to turn it off. I don't need you here. I don't want you here. If I had no listeners, if I had 1,000 listeners, I'd be having the same conversations, and your opinion does not influence the things I talk about in any shape, form, or fashion. Now, I've got two things right now that you, sir, may spend the rest of your day eating. My left and right.
Turfs Up Radio fans,
Oop,
you know
I gotta
what time
take a
it
break.
is? That's right, it's time for Turfs Up Radio. Now you can catch us streaming live 24/7 with pro talk, pro tips, and pro interviews. Simply visit turfsupradio.com.
Turn existing irrigation systems into organic fertilizing, safe pest repelling machines with the Pro Products Green Feeder System. Irrigation contractors are leaving less money on the table and increasing profits with this easy to install, easy to maintain, unlimited recurring revenue opportunity. Call 800-285-9176, 800-285-9176, and mention Turfs Up Radio for an exclusive offer, or visit proproducts.com to learn more.
Eric the Turf Teacher Jones. Oh, yeah! The morning show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. And keeping up with Mr. Jones, Mondays at 6 to 8 p.m. Teaching you life lessons, business strategies, and leadership.
Let's grow together. Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
All right, I'm back. Dan! I try to be family friendly here. Steve, we can talk about stripes. We'll get there. I promise. All right, we're back. So the diverse, so Celsius, when it came onto the market, it was the replacement for MSMA. And this, if there was ever a product that made me feel like, it's Grace, I promise. It sounds like I'm going to blow a gasket, but I'm really not. I I enjoy that piece of it because it allows me to be a character. Because at the end of the day, just as much as this is about education, I also have to be entertaining. And the only way I know to be entertaining, because there's nothing really entertaining for me about turf grass, because this is my career and I take things like that way overly seriously. So the way I have to be entertaining is to come across as a wrestling announcer. And that's why I do it. It's part of the character. I apologize. It's just me being silly. Okay. Raphael Chavira, how effective would ethifumicate and atrazine be to suppress wild Bermuda in St. Augustine and Floritan? Yes, that would be what I would recommend, and it would be very effective. You have to make fall applications and do so much the similar way of any other Bermuda management program, where you have to starve the carbohydrate reserve cycle of Bermuda grass. So as you begin to lose daylight hours, that's a signal to the plant that it's beginning to store carbohydrates. So after the 4th of July, that's when you start moving into that period of Bermuda grass where it's storing carbohydrate reserves. By applying an herbicide that's going to inhibit the growth, inhibit the color of Bermuda grass, you're inhibiting the carbohydrate storage cycle that's naturally taking place. The further you deplete the root system of carbohydrates, the closer you get to actually killing it. Okay? Okay. And here we go again. It's kind of a fun one. I'm a little confused about Biochar. When you first came out with your product, everyone started copying you. What's the difference between your product and Anderson's Humichar, which is also known as Char X? They didn't just take the concept of the product, but they also took the name with Char X. But it is what it is. Such is business. We live in a capitalist world. Competition is a positive thing. So here is the difference. To be honest, I have no idea what's in their product to begin with. It says it's biochar. Biochar is a catch-all phrase, a lot like nitrogen is, right? And when you decide you have to apply nitrogen, there's a certain set of criteria you have to apply when choosing to apply nitrogen, right? Do you want to apply ammonium sulfate? Do you want to apply monoammonium phosphate? Do you want to apply potassium nitrate? Do you want to apply ammonium nitrate? Do you want to apply urea? Do you want to apply stabilized urea? Do you want to apply polycoated sulfur-coated urea? Do you want to apply methylene urea? What actually are you applying in that regard? So biochar is a bit of the same thing. You have temperatures, you have different pyrolysis temperatures. Pyrolysis is just the process of manufacturing, right? So the characteristics you get out of biochar that's been pyrolyzed at 200 degrees Celsius versus the temperatures of biochar pyrolyzed at 400 degrees Celsius, you get two different sets of characteristics. You get another set of characteristics at 600 degrees Celsius, at 800 degrees Celsius, at 1,000 degrees Celsius, at 1,200 degrees Celsius. All of those produce different characteristics. My wife just texted me. Okay. Then on the second piece of that, it all comes down to feedstock as well. So whether you're using, some people use biosolids as the source of their biochar. Now, when you use biosolids, it's, again, remember, it's evaporated all out as a gas. It volatilizes, so you lose all the hydrocarbons out of it, all the organic matter out of it when you pyrolyze it, right? So what started as biosolids is now just biochar, just raw carbon. So, but you get different characteristics. You get a different balance of cation exchange capacity to anion exchange capacity. You have different characteristics that some chars are hydrophobic, some are hygroscopic. You have some chars that have the ability to have different strengths and bonding. You have different surface areas. All of those have different characteristics in what you're doing. All of those have different performance metrics. So when I look at their product, and really with any biochar product, the one thing you have to be sure of is, one, what performance characteristic are you getting out of your biochar product based on the information they give you? What is the source of their biochar? What is their biomass source? Is it corn stovers? Is it human waste? Is it, what's the other one I'm thinking? Bamboo? Is it softwood? Is it hardwood? All of these things have different characteristics. And there's lots of charts, and I've done lots of presentations on it and around. I probably need to compile that into one unitary topic at hand. I should do that. I haven't. If anybody's ever seen me speak live publicly, one of the presentations I give about biochar, I actually go through all of those different characteristics relating to biochar. So, but again, I only usually do that normally in live types of presentations. So, yes, there are completely different characteristics you get out of it based on your feedstock and your pyrolysis temperature. Then the second piece is based on the characteristics you have out of your biochar, based on the source material and based on the pyrolysis temperature. That's how it's going to interact differently with your soil. I'll give you an example. If you apply a high cation exchange capacity biochar, say softwood, low pyrolysis temperature, and you apply it to the soil, it doesn't matter if it's in micronized form. It doesn't matter if it's in big chunk form. When you apply it to the soil, having such a high cation exchange capacity, it's going to absorb cations all day long. So it's going to absorb potassium. It's going to absorb calcium. It's going to absorb magnesium. Your cations, when you're looking at a soil test and you're looking at your CEC, your cation exchange capacity, you're raising that. You're applying a material that's very adsorbative, not absorption, not absorb, not absorb, but adsorb, adsorb. So you bond to those things, and what you lose when you're doing that is you lose predictability over the release of that product. You never know when it's going to release. If you look at all the biochar studies that are out there right now, the number one thing that is the dominant topic of biochar is the first year of use causes problems. The first year of use causes problems, and that's been a major. I did an interview with The Burning Quest, at The Burning Quest on Twitter, at The Burning Quest on Instagram. We did an Instagram TV interview. And we were talking about the struggles and the pitfalls of the biochar market, and the reason why it exists is you're asking people to invest these thousands of dollars into their farm when they do, the people who have done it end up causing problems, end up losing yield. And now they're out where they spent all this money for all these applications on all their fields, and now they're not producing. But the reason why that happens, the reason why that ends up happening is nobody is explaining what is actually taking place. What actually is taking place is that you're applying a material that has a very high bonding and storage capacity to the soil. And if you're not applying anything with it to bond and hold on to, that will not take away from the plant, where else is it going to get it? It's going to get it from the soil and take it away from the plant. And the plant will not have access to it because the char is going to hold on too tightly to it. Now it could be totally different. If you're using corn stover at a mid temperature or a high temperature, you're going to have a very high anion exchange capacity. You're going to start robbing nitrogen and phosphorus away from your plants. They're not going to be able to take it up. Your biochar has absorbed too much to it. No harm, no foul. It's just the reality of the situation. So the $1 million question is, everybody knows biochar has the ability to store things, to absorb the things, to hold on to things. The $1 million question becomes, how do you get it to re-release? And I didn't make this up. I was not smart enough to figure this out by myself. I got lucky. We all get lucky. A blind squirrel finds a nut from time to time. If you go to carbonearth.co, very simple. You click the science and you scroll down where we're talking about CRRP technology. And you go to the section that says give and take. And I say, and University of Minnesota started to run trials on it. What they discovered was that the organic coating that is produced on the surface area of biochar through the process of co-composting allows the material to re-release. It gives you a certain level of predictability in what you can expect when you make an application of this material. We conclude that the combination of biochar with non-pyrogenic organic matter, for example, manure, is the key strategy to develop carbon fertilizer carriers that are effective at low application rates. Annual applications of such biochar-based fertilizers could sequester and mitigate global warming, a global mitigation strategy that could be implemented due to its economic value for farmers without the necessity for further subsidies. So the whole point there is to solve that piece of it. That's the whole point of co-composting it and using an organic matter and not just turning it over in your soil and turning it over in your soil or turning it over in your soil or applying it in a micronized form and hoping for the best. That's great. So what we did was take exactly that whole premise of biochar that's been co-composted with something, for example, manure. In this instance, we use chicken manure because chicken manure, in terms of agronomic values, is nearly perfect. At 3-1-3. Sometimes you get it in, depending on how you're amending the contents of the house. You may even get it up to a 5-1-3 if you know what you're doing. So in terms of nutrient ratios, that's about good. That is about good. At a 3-1-3, you're a 1-to-1 indicate. You're in the money. You're in the cash money. It gives you a better base for where to start. And then the second piece of that is that you now have material that is not only absorptive, it can bond onto those things in the soil, but it can also release them. Or if you apply it in combination with some of these other things like ammonium sulfate or sulfate of potash for ferrous sulfate, in the event it's not used up by the plant, it's got something that can hold on to it. And then as it re-wets, it can go back in a solution and be plant available again. So the difference between the two is that just applying biochar in and of itself isn't really doing anything for you. What you may be able to capitalize on that point, again, assuming the right biochar with the right set of characteristics, you might be able to increase beneficial bacteria and beneficial fungi to a point. At some point, you're going to hit a max on that, and it's not going to move your needle for you up or down no matter what you apply. If you apply it heavy enough, you can reduce the bulk density of your soil. But there's no nutritive value out of it. So at that point, what you end up having to do is make one application of biochar, make one application of manure or organic matter, and then make one application of a traditional synthetic fertilizer. That's how you get your product out of it. Why do all that when you can apply it as one? No, that's not what I'm saying, SMK. What I'm saying is that because we have put it through the co-composting process and because we granulate it with other NPK value added to it, you skip the whole time and patience requirement for the results of the product. Listen, I'm a turf manager. I'm a spray jockey by trade. I don't have time to wait 3 months to start seeing result out of my fertilizer. When I'm developing a product for myself or for someone else, I've got 2 weeks to flip the conditions of that lawn or my ass is fired. That's the way I approach it because that's how it was for me in lawn care. If in 1 month I couldn't make significant improvement on that lawn, my ass was toast, roasted, fired, gone. Because that's how I marketed myself in my industry. I marketed myself as better than my peers. And so how do I get that? I have to give those results on the front end. That's what people expect. Now, sometimes I'd have to make the statement, listen, it's going to get worse before it gets better. 2 weeks in, you're going to think I've lost my damn mind. 3 weeks in, you're going to be ready to fire me. 4 weeks in, you're going to call me and want to kiss my child. You have to be able to sell it correctly, and that's kind of an art in and of itself. That takes a long time to develop that experience. But at the end of the day, if I have a product that is not going to work for me for a year, for 2 months, for 4 months, for 6 months, that does not fit into what I do when I manage turf. So no, I would never develop a product that, one, when I apply it, does not give me some sort of visual impact, and two, is going to take years for it to start to pay me dividends, or even take months for it to start to pay me dividends. When I develop a product, I want to go make an application and get as much done in that one application as I possibly can. I want to do something that will biostimulate the root system. I want to apply something that has the potential to alter or manipulate the bulk density of the soil structure, the tilth, improve the health of the soil. And I want to apply something that's going to give me viable agronomics, viable NPK agronomics, because NPK is what grows plants. So what that allows me to do in a single application, I can focus on the NPK agronomy, I can focus on the soil, and I can focus on stimulating the root system. It's a 1, 2, 3 combo that I can accomplish in a single application. That is the difference between what I do. That's the difference between what I do and what Anderson's does. That's the difference between what I do and what Miramichi does. I have no problem with either one of those products. I think they're fine. I've used plenty of Miramichi before in my past. But at the end of the day, and why I gave up on using Miramichi was I wanted something I could drop in my spreader and go spread that I didn't have to use the top dresser for. I wanted something that I could also put down in combination with fertilizer out of one trip. My problem with Anderson's is, one, it wasn't an original idea of theirs. That's why it's called Char X in the real world. It's called Char X. On the YouTube world, it's called Humichar. But out in the marketplace, it's called Char X. Out in the marketplace, my product is called Carbon X. I don't know. Might be coincidence. That's semantics. I'm not going to argue about that. But all that product is just the char piece of it. We don't know what temperature pyrolysis. We don't know what the feedstock is. We know it's just agglomerated micronized char. Well, true point. Anything that is ever agglomerated into an individual product starts in a micronized form. You can't roll something into a prill when you're dealing with something that's 1 inch thick. You have to take it down to 40, 50 micron and then roll it into a ball before it'll retain a normal shape. So that, sir, is the difference. I hope I answered that question. All right, real quick, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue on. You're listening to The Drive Home on Turf's Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Every Wednesday night.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is?
Hump Night with The Duck. 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. Only on Turf's Up Radio.
Hump day?
We have to put up with this?
The Rock! The hot place!
You're not the top.
Did I say something wrong?
The Duck. On Turf's Up Radio. Turf's Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
I haven't done this in a long time.
Hey everybody, this is Hecubus from the Nightcap.
I'm just sitting here relaxing within the vault with my friends and a tasty, tasty pint. You should stop by and listen in sometime. I'm here every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, live only on Turf's Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Are you a military family with a spouse on deployment away from home? Did you know that nonprofit Project Evergreen has thousands of volunteers across the country ready to help military families with lawn, landscape, and snow removal services? We call it Green Care and Snow Care for troops. If you are a military family and would like to receive this free service, or if you'd like to volunteer to help, visit projectevergreen.org. Project Evergreen, creating a greener, healthier, cooler Earth. 1 yard at a time.
Hey, landscape pros, are you tired of digging through rocks and roots and breaking shovels in the process? Then it's time you checked out the Geo Ripper 616. It's a landscaper's dream with the Makita 6 Series 2-cycle engine producing over 4 horsepower of raw performance. The 616 digs deep in up to 16 inches of the toughest soils. Lighting, landscape, and irrigation contractors already love this improved lightweight trencher with its ability to get in and get out faster, easier, and with less ground disturbance, and you will too. This redesigned Geo Ripper 616 comes with 2 heavy-duty digging chains and a whole mess of helpful extras. To learn more about the Geo Ripper and how it can help you out in the field, visit georipper.com today.
All right, we're back. I think that's what I'm going to do. Maybe this weekend, if I've got time, we'll start. Maybe my wife and I can sit down and I can just give one of my presentations that I give just to the camera. All right, we'll get back into this. Paul had a question, said, when soil temperatures are recommended for product application, is that soil temp measured in the hottest part of the day? Sorry for the question. Actually, no. So the way it's actually measured, for the majority of the time when you're applying an herbicide, it's the time when you apply the temperature. So if you have a recommendation that you can only apply Sure Power, for instance, and that was one of the ones I wanted to talk about. We'll see if we can navigate over there. Not worried if we get there or not. Not a major concern. I'd rather answer questions than necessarily go off on a tangent about an herbicide. But and in fact, to really get into that conversation, we need to get Rod Marquardt on the phone, who is with New Farm, who developed and put this product out of the market, and he is the man. And let me tell you, I one of my mentors, one of my great friends, just an unbelievable guy, unbelievable family. I love Rod Marquardt to death, so it wouldn't be fair to talk about that product without him on the phone. Regardless, I digress. So, for instance, there is a temperature restriction on that product that you do not apply at 85 or above. So the way you can end up applying that, even if it's going to be 93 degrees on the day, if you get out there early in the morning and it's only 74 degrees, you can make your application. If you get out there at 11 o'clock in the afternoon and it's 81 degrees, you can make your application. If you get out there at 7 o'clock at night and it's back down to 81 degrees, you can make your application. All of those would be within the label limits. It's not what the potential for the temperature to be at the day. It's what the temperature is at the time of application. Okay. That's awesome, SMK. I'm glad we could be of assistance in that role. Ned G asked, "What about water and liquid propiconazole app?" So I guess what you're asking here is how much water volume carrier should you have in an application of propiconazole? And we can kind of go back and forth on this, and everybody's going to have a bit of a different opinion from a pure scientific perspective. Propiconazole, being a DMI that does have growth regulatory characteristics out of the product, meaning you apply it and it acts as a bit of as a growth regulator. And in fact, it can cause some discoloration as well. That's one of those products that applying it in a higher volume of water would mitigate a bit, some of, I'm careful about how I say that, at lower rates may help mitigate some of that discoloration potential. I'm not saying it's going to be a game changer, but I'm saying it does have the potential running it at a higher volume of water carrier per 1,000 square feet. Now, that being said, I can tell you from experience, I never ran propiconazole by itself once I moved into the world of trying to wrap my brain around resistance management. And Ned, if you're not there yet, I would highly encourage you to move that direction and not apply propiconazole by itself. If you're looking for fungicide alternatives, there's other things you can do with a similar price tag to propiconazole. For instance, thiophanate methyl. The old Clear East 3336. That would be a great combination with propiconazole that gives you two modes of action, which is going to decrease the potential for resistance and is going to help you out. Say, for instance, you're dealing with dollar spot. That's a good 1-2 combo for you there. If you're dealing with brown patch, it's probably not going to be great for you, but it would probably help you okay on that dollar spot if you applied it in combination with fertilizer and all the fun pieces that go along with it. So that's the direction I would be going with it. Is something like that. Never propiconazole by itself. Now, if say you're dealing with like brown patch, one of the things you can add, or gray leaf spot, that's where your azoxystrobin comes into the picture. One of the things you can do too is runs propiconazole alongside something like a phosphite, and maybe just a little bit of nitrogen to go along with it. That would be a good product combination to run. You get some pythium work out of your phosphite. You get some systemic acquired response out of your phosphite, and you get a little bit of your propiconazole. Now, the big kicker with that is exactly like you said. You're running a little bit of nitrogen with it, but you're not running nowhere near the correct amount of potassium with it if you're concerned about disease. Unless you have potassium levels that are off the chart, I would not run an 1801 and an 002. I would be trying to target something like an 18018. So if you're running an 1801, I would back that up with an equal amount of potassium acetate or potassium carbonate if you've got low pH soils or whatever the case may be. That would be, or potassium phosphite. Now, you got to be careful with potassium phosphite because if there's anything else in your 1801, like iron or humic, all of that's going to fall out of solution. Ask me how I know. How do you know, Matt? Because I made that freaking mistake. Just saying. Okay. Anyway, that's kind of where I'm going with that. As far as getting tropical signal grass out of centipede, oh man. I feel like there was a new product. It may not have been labeled for centipede. No, it was not. I knew Tribute was one of them. I know. I don't know if you can put Syncor on centipede, and I don't think you can. I don't know, but I keep banging my head against the wall. I feel like one of these new haloxyphen methyls showed promising results in controlling tropical signal grass. Hang on, let me see if I can haloxyphen centipede. Here we go. No. Let's see if this has signal grass on it. Oh no, it was something that contained panoxidine. That was right. That was manuscript, but you could not put that on centipede. No, man, I've got nothing for you there. And unfortunately, that's just one of those that boy, good luck. Maybe a combination of like Celsius and atrazine, something like that may help you. But I mean, that's a total guess, man. Total guess. Oh man, I'm literally throwing handfuls of doo-doo at the wall to see what sticks. If your recommendation is to apply a pre-emergent when soil temperatures drop to 70, do you measure that temperature in the warmest part of the day? I hope. No, you're not. Oh, you're talking about soil temperatures in that regard. No, what you want to look for are your averages across the day. And I don't necessarily target a very specific soil temperature. It's not like 70 degrees is my trigger. It's more of a cooling trend, right? So if I've moved from 85 to 75 over the course of 10 days or 20 days, something like that, I'm going to go ahead and get it down. I may not be at 70 yet, but I'm not running the risk. So I'm going to go ahead and get it down and be done with it. That's why the advantage of using something like Greencast Online is so powerful. Because you get your averages right there at the tip of your fingers. Let's see. We'll go to lawn and landscape. Wasn't it Greencast Online that measured? Yeah, here it is right here. I'll throw it up in the chat. Like my current soil temperature is 83. My 24-hour average is 80 degrees. My 5-day average is basically 80 degrees. I'm a little bit below my 5-year average. I can tell you, I just know from the temperature outside, I've been on a cooling trend. And I would still say I'm a little bit early compared to where I need to be making my fall applications on warm season grass for like what is the one I'm looking for? Poa annua. But I'll tell you, right now is when I would be planning on it, and I may be 2 weeks away, no more than 3 weeks away. I would definitely be putting down my first applications. Realistically, looking at this, if I had a warm season route, then probably August 21st, I'm going ahead and I'm making my application just based off this data I have right here. Because we're getting real close. In fact, you could go, your perfect, 100% perfect temperature is going to be 68 degrees, right? So, I'm not far off. I can get fescue to come up real fast, real good at this temperature right here. As long as the water's there. Oh, Biochar. Biochar is an old one. I believe Biochar is also another DMI. I have never used Biochar for Pythium. I would not think it is very effective for Pythium at all. And one of the places I like is NC State. If you Google NC State Pythium, I really do not think Biochar is effective even minutely on Pythium. But if you type in NC State and then Pythium, your first two write-ups right here, one is going to be Pythium root rot, which it exists in turf, but you're going to see that in cooler weather, and then Pythium blight, which is what affects our cool season turf in hot weather. And then when you drive down, scroll down at the bottom of it, you'll see chemical control. What you're going to be looking for here are things that have 3 or 4 pluses, or is what's going to give you real efficacy. Things that are at 2 pluses is kind of hit and miss, is gonna do okay. Like the old tebuconazole. I used to grab tebuconazole when I had absolutely nothing else to run. And did it work? Fans worked just as well on managing Pythium blight as tebuconazole did, in my opinion, in my experience. Again, this is just my opinion, and my opinion is forged out of my own experiences. For anybody that has different experiences, they may have different opinions, and I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong. And if you look on here, you know, your highest rating ones, Chipco, Facetyl Aluminum, Mefenoxam, Stellar, which is propamacarb, and fluopicolide. I don't even know that one. I don't know Stellar. And Segway. Woo, getting into some high dollar cost per application products right there. Be cranking out some cash. Okay. I think we kind of got caught up on all the other things there. And listen, whenever I go on a diatribe about my product like that, I feel so guilty. I feel incredibly guilty. I don't want to use this platform. I don't want to use YouTube or the radio to do nothing but talk about my products. It's not like that. Listen, the reality of the situation is that there's thousands of good and great products out there right now. I just have a product that can fit into a situation, into a solution. I have a series of products that can work as a program, but does it mean that my product is better than anybody else's? No. It's all about getting to the same result in a multitude of ways. My whole goal as a business, my whole goal as a product is to achieve as much as we possibly can in as few applications as necessary, if that makes sense. So I apologize for doing that. I'm sorry. The question here, and we talked about this with Ray on Pick the Doc's Brain episode one time, but was, why can you not apply Daconil weather stick on residential turf? I sprayed one amp on my crepe myrtle, and this is the first year I have not had leaf blight or powdery mildew all season. So the reason why is kind of two parts. One, overuse, and two, potential to end up in our waterways. It can move, run off, wash off, move, whatever the case may be. Then the second piece of it is the primary fungicide applied in sports and athletic turf and golf. And it's not just applied 3, 4, 5 times a year. It's applied 15, 20 times a year. At absolute max label rate is how often they're going to put it down. Because the beautiful thing about Pythium, golly, where am I going with this? The beautiful thing about Daconil is that it attacks so many different sites of the disease that in order for the disease to manipulate, what is the word I'm looking for? Evolve. Golly. What is it called? Mutate. In order for the disease to mutate, it would have to do so in a series of different ways all at one time to keep from being eliminated by the fungicide. So it's a beautiful product in that regard, but it is entirely overused, and there are some potential risks that go along with it, particularly with its ability to move in the water. So that's why they limited it. Otherwise, lawn care guys would be right out there with all the golf guys applying it whenever you possibly could as well. Trust me, I know. I have, and I'm not saying, no, I'm not even going to go down that road. I was going to say, I've sprayed a few crepe myrtles. I've sprayed a few azaleas before and accidentally got some on a piece of brown patch that was next to the bed, just from drift, and it took care of it. But I was spraying the azaleas, so that was what I was there for, and that's what happened. Now, perennial rye is always one of those topics here, Chandler, that will go. Yeah. And the question is that if through continual overseeding of perennial ryegrass into Bermuda, is it going to eventually beat the Bermuda down? And it's kind of a catch-22. It's kind of a yes-no answer. Remember, the problem with perennial ryegrass is the allolepathy. It's an allelopathic grass plant. That's part of the problem. The other problem is the competition with the Bermuda grass in transition. So you're not only affecting it with transition while it's going dormant, the Bermuda, you're also affecting it in transition when it's coming out of dormancy, the Bermuda. Now, the beautiful thing is that if you do use perennial ryegrass and you do affect it going into dormancy, if you spray it out before it has the opportunity to affect with spring green up transition out of dormancy, you may open up, you may provide enough of a buffer there that it's not going to put you in such a state of being so behind on your Bermuda grass. But the reality of the situation is that Bermuda is a violent enough grower of a turf grass that you can repair the majority of the disease in a single growing season more than you would actually hurt it. So if it starts, normally if you didn't overseed with ryegrass every year, and it's always at a 10, and then you start overseeding with ryegrass, and then as it goes dormant, it drops all the way down to a 2, and then when it comes out of dormancy, it's at a 2, you've got enough growing season to bring it back up to a 10 before it gets influenced by overseeding to take it back down to a 2. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because that's where I'm going with it. You can get enough recovery out of it where you don't really have to worry about it too much. Reed Grevin says UGA soil test says do 1 pound of potassium. No, do 1 pound per 1,000 square feet of nitrogen and potassium in the spring and September, and 1 pound of nitrogen in June and August for a total of 4 pounds of nitrogen and 2 pounds of potassium. Should I do balance every 3 weeks, March to September, for those pounds, or CX monthly plus SOP? That's totally your choice. However you however you choose to do that, Reed. In my opinion, what I would do is I would run the balance so that way I don't have to make 2 applications. I'm an applicator, and for me, it's all about efficiency. The way I make money as an applicator is being as efficient as possible. Getting the biggest bang out of my results and having to spend the least amount of time on the property. Having to make 2 applications like that is inefficient. Therefore, if I was in a position where I pulled all my soil tests and I knew I needed a certain amount of K down and it aligned with a particular product, I used to blend my fertilizers. I ran my K a little different. I didn't always run a 4-to-2 ratio of N to K. Sometimes I would start out and just run nitrogen, and then I would run my next application of 1-to-1 nitrogen to potassium to balance that out. So in my opinion, I would just run the balanced product and be done with it. If you have a special event you're worried about and you want it to come all fancy and jazzed up and all that stuff, you can do one of 2 things. You can apply Carbon X, which to me, I still wouldn't do. I would just run balance at a higher rate. So that way you make sure you've got plenty of the other things that you need, specifically potassium. And where if you're in UGA and you're on the west side to central to west side of Georgia, you're going to be incredibly low in phosphorus anyway. So I would definitely want to apply something with phosphorus. Rob Wright says, happy Friday, Matt. Would you be okay with applying X-Green all season until the winterization app? Tall fescue and cool season zone every 3 to 4 weeks at 6 pounds per 1,000. Yep, you can totally do that. Not a problem. Oh, okay. All right, hang on. I got to take a break. When we come back, let's see what kind of trouble we can get into. Because I don't know. I feel like we can do something. What's a little bit of trouble? By the way, if anybody knows the Matt Martin sucks guy, tell him to come back in, and I'll apologize. I need to tell him sorry anyway. All right, hang on. You're listening to The Drive Home on Turfs Up Radio. If you're looking to get involved, head on over to turfsupradio.com and see what all there is to offer. I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to play some promos for a couple different shows. These are shows I want you all to listen to. We got the Hump Night with Duck on Wednesdays, and we got My Main Man, Russell Hecubus coming on in the evenings. And then we got my number one, Broham, Eric the Turf Teacher Jones, every morning at 6 a.m. to get your mind right. So hang on, we're taking a break. When we come back, we'll continue on with the show.
Hey everybody, this is Hecubus from the Nightcap. I'm just sitting here relaxing within the vault with my friends and a tasty, tasty pint. You should stop by and listen in sometime. I'm here every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, live only on Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Every Wednesday night.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is?
Hump Night with The Duck. 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. Only on Turfs Up Radio.
Hump day?
Do we have to put up with this?
The Rock! The hot place!
You're not the top.
Did I say something wrong?
The Duck. On Turfs Up Radio. Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Hey, landscape pros, are you tired of digging through rocks and roots and breaking shovels in the process? Then it's time you checked out the Geo Ripper 616. It's a landscaper's dream with the Makita 6 Series 2-cycle engine producing over 4 horsepower of raw performance. The 616 digs deep in up to 16 inches of the toughest soils. Lighting, landscape, and irrigation contractors already love this improved lightweight trencher with its ability to get in and get out faster, easier, and with less ground disturbance. And you will too. This redesigned Geo Ripper 616 comes with 2 heavy-duty digging chains and a whole mess of helpful extras. To learn more about the Geo Ripper and how it can help you out in the field, visit georipper.com today.
Eric the Turf Teacher Jones. The morning show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. And keeping up with Mr. Jones, Mondays at 6 to 8 p.m. Teaching you life lessons, business strategies, and leadership.
Let's grow together. Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Well, there it is. I was like, man, what happened to the music? Y'all, listen, it's 5:17, and we missed our 5 o'clock drive-by, but I tell you what, you know who we need to hear from? The man, the myth, the legend, the one who rules them all, the man who's been to Mars, has cleaned the pool and the porta-john, Lushy of Lush Lawns.
Welcome to the Lush Factor, everyone. Everyone know what time it is? You ready?
Ready! Yes! Yes!
It's time for a beer.
That's right. It's time for a beer.
I heard you wanted to get in some trouble. I figured I'd be your Huckleberry.
Oh, not me. I'm in my prime. How are you, good sir? How was your week?
It was good. It was good. And, busy week. We had that little storm that came up the East Coast that everybody got a little taste of, and we got very lucky. It kind of went west of us. So just been cleaning up.
Yeah,
You know?
did y'all get some pretty significant wins?
For about 45 minutes to an hour. It came blowing through. I mean, it was crazy for about an hour, and then it was over. So we were very, very lucky, but we haven't had a good hurricane come through since like 91. So we got some old brittle trees that it just, wind blows a little funny, limbs start snapping. They had some power outages and stuff, but not as bad as like near New York. They got hammered over there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't New York and Jersey get it pretty rough over there?
Yeah, it was the Hudson Valley went right up that and right through Connecticut, New York, right up that through the Vermont line right there, and really kind of let it go right there. So that's fine by me. We got a little rain. I'll be happy.
No, sure, I get it, man. I get it. There's always something about those storms too, when all the trees go down and stuff. I mean, it just it makes it kind of rough to get out there and get your job done. Because you've got a schedule you need to adhere to. Aldo said you were going to chug a beer for every 1608 that was sent through Super Chat. Are you?
Yeah, I have not seen. I've not seen the Super Chat come through with the 1608 yet.
One just came through, so you're gonna have to shotgun one. Are you familiar with shotgunning beers?
Mm-hmm. I'm drinking one for Aldo right now.
I didn't know if up yonder y'all do the shotgun thing, or is that purely a south of the line deal?
No. It's more of a college thing, but
Yes, it is. It's kind of like doing a handstand on a keg while you're upside down or something.
Yeah, well, yeah, we haven't done that since we were a long time ago. We'll just put it that.
Yeah, we don't do those things.
All right, so that one was for Aldo. Anybody else got a super chat?
Our number 2 open. Man, you sucked that down and still provided commentary. Bless your heart, sir.
You have to, it's tough from a can. It takes a little while, so.
Man, my goodness, that was fantastic. I can't believe that happened. You were something else, Lushy, in a positive way.
And we did have an exciting week up here. Maybe not Tom, but I did. Lushy arrived, got unloaded.
Hey!
Riding around town, loaded heavy.
What do you think of that little design my wife came up with?
Oh, I loved it. It's even got the SpaceX little flair to it.
If I could go back and undo 1 year, we'll do a rebranding, and I want more of a SpaceX X, because that was the whole point of us naming it Carbon X, was after SpaceX, because I'm an Elon Musk nerd.
Can rebrand next year.
Yeah, maybe we'll just change all of it to Lush X.
No, you got balance. Then Lush X is for all those people that want that 4-2 but can't have the 1. That's why we have Lush X.
Well, I hope y'all enjoy it. I hope Tom doesn't kill me.
Yeah, he doesn't want a sweatshirt, or he wanted to order one. I couldn't tell by the character he sent me.
Yeah, you never know with those middle fingers. It could have been asking for one.
I thought he wanted one. He looks like an XL, but I'll order him one.
Man, that is funny. That is funny, sir.
He's so mad. He's like, I got to look at 19 pallets of this for 5 weeks. I said, well, I don't know. It rolls off the tongue. Wicked X doesn't roll off the tongue.
Well,
he wanted Wicked Lush X.
Here's the thing. On the next one, I got to pay Tom back. We got to do something. We got to do something special for him.
We do. You do. He was joking. He's like, that's probably charging me 50 cents a pallet or a bag to put Lush X on it.
No, literally, it came off the printer, and I knew we had to print the labels anyway for the product, because we don't floor stock a 1608, so I had to print the label anyway. So I was like, oh man, I bet this is gonna go one of two ways. You're either gonna like it, or you're gonna be like, get my name off that shit. And
I love it.
Yeah, you were good with it, so it worked out.
Yeah. Hey, but now we have t-shirts, sweatshirts. Order early, order often. That's all I can say. Let's get this Carbon Earth company going.
All right, Lushy. Well, I appreciate you calling in. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Love to Cindy and the kids, and y'all don't do anything I wouldn't do, good sir.
Same back to you.
All right, we'll holler at you.
All right, I'll talk to you, Matt.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
There he is. Paul said Lushy is a legend. He is the legend of lawn care, Lushy Lawns. I feel so much better now that when I hear Lushy come on right there, I know what that means. You know what that means? That means it is well, not necessarily. It means the weekend is almost here. And that's always a good time. Listen, I enjoy weekends now, especially at my age, because one, I enjoy working. I'm not gonna lie. I'm the weirdo that actually wants to go to work. But on the weekends, that's the time I get to see my kids, and I actually really enjoy my kids too. So, it's my son's at that age where he's 7. He's a month away from turning 8. And he's beginning to just discover the world, and it's that innocent, insatiable inquisitiveness just to everything. He wants to know how everything works. Wants to see the inside of everything, and I know I was like that, and so I see that in him as I saw it myself too, and it's just. Boy, I'm really enjoying that. Now, on the flip side, my daughter is a reincarnation of my wife, and she's really into like brushing her hair and her dolls, the color pink. What are unicorns? And bossing me and my son around. I mean, boy, I tell you what, that's one thing I can say about my wife. My wife is not a bossy lady, but she does kick my ass once a week, whether I need it or not. And I deserve it. If I don't have my ass kicked once a week, then there's no telling what I'll be doing. But somehow, my 4-year-old dainty daughter who's concerned about, just any and everything. My wife gets scared of butterflies. My daughter gets scared of butterflies. Just a complete and total reincarnation of her. Genetics are a weird but incredible and mysterious thing. So as the weekend comes up, that's one of the things I get excited about, is that I get to hang out with them. Now, time to reinvest back into Turf Talk. Zapow! So, Ben, the lawn guardian, had a question here, and he said, given my soil conditions, Ben, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I cannot remember what your parts per million was on your... I remember now on your soil test. And you did just apply 1010. Man, if it were me... If you got any more of that 1010, I'd probably just throw that down and then make the transition over to AMS, because I still want you to focus on your potassium levels. I don't want to let that drop off. So it just makes sense for me. Yeah, put it down then, and then follow right back up with it with your AMS. As the growth begins to slow down, switch over to AMS and just run it out that way. I think it's fine. If you want to apply X-Star, you can. Are you going to see any kind of tremendous difference than versus your 1010 in that scenario, dealing with what you're dealing with? I don't think so. I would be way more focused and way more worried about moving the needle on your pH than anything else at that time. Focus on that pH. Focus on it. Focus, baby. Focus. Gray Fox said, I got my soil test back and everything is in the good column, except zinc is high at 30.9 parts per million. Would it be good to use X-Start with my turf type tall fescue Kentucky Bluegrass seed? Yeah, you can use it there. It's fine. Now, at the rate that X-Start has zinc, it's going to be used up very quickly. It's only there for the establishment period, and it's not enough that's going to move your needle on your soil test. Now, through the course of the year, as you continue to go, you're going to see a gradual decline in your zinc rate as long as you're not continually applying it. The more zinc you apply over a longer period of time, eventually you're going to get it to raise. So in order to get it to come back down, you have to stop applying it and then mow it out. That would be the way to get rid of it. As far as the 1621-2, I don't know what's in it, but if that's a humic-based product, I would not be running that because humates and phosphorus will tie each other up and make it plant unavailable. And if you're wondering where I got into that, if you scroll all the way up, you're going to see I posted a couple links there in the chat, actually, that I tagged you in, that was speaking specifically about humic acid and phosphorus. So I would not be doing that at all. Kids are a blessing. They're a lot of fun. And, it's a different, the way your schedule shifts, when my kids were born and you get into the routine of, transitioning bottles, changing diapers back and forth. And, I'm running over here to do something for work. My wife is, one kid's puking. She's like, can you grab the baby's diaper? Oh, yeah, let me get that. And, it's this, I have to say that piece of it was really fun because, my wife and I got to learn how to work together as a team incredibly well. But now that they've hit this age, I don't know. It's just different. It's genuinely fun. Before it was way more stress involved. Now it's genuinely fun. I like that piece of it. I will be diving into the turf grass course while I heal up from surgery on Tuesday. My goodness, Paul. I hope your surgery goes exceptionally well. I hope you pull through, and I pray you have an incredibly speedy recovery through it all. There's nothing fun about surgery. I don't enjoy it. I've only had just a couple. Let's see, I had a hernia. I feel like I had surgery for something else too, but I can't remember. I may have, I may not have. I don't recall. A hernia is the only one that I can remember. And boy, that was something else. I'm glad that happened when I was still a teenager and not in my 20s or 30s, because I was way tougher then than I am now. All right, I've got to take a break. When we come back, we'll close this out. We still got 2 more segments, damn it. 2 more segments. So hang on. More after the break. You're listening to Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Playing the best music.
Hands down and dirty. Turfs Up Radio.
Turfs Up Radio.
Turfs Up Radio. Turfs Up Radio. Turfs Up Radio.
Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Hey, Green Industry Pros, are you new to Turfs Up Radio and want to learn more? Then plug in your earphones and keep listening, because Turfs Up Radio invites you to listen while you work. Our 24/7 live radio platform keeps you up to date, bringing you new tips and interviews from pros like you who want to elevate and educate the green industry. Can't make it to industry shows or events? Don't worry, Turfs Up Radio will be there bringing you live coverage, getting you in on the action. So keep listening to Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Turn existing irrigation systems into organic fertilizing, safe pest repelling machines with the Pro Products Green Feeder System. Irrigation contractors are leaving less money on the table and increasing profits with this easy to install, easy to maintain, unlimited recurring revenue opportunity. Call 800-285-9176. 800-285-9176 and mention Turfs Up Radio for an exclusive offer, or visit proproducts.com to learn more.
Eric the Turf Teacher Jones.
Oh, yeah.
The Morning Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. And Keeping Up with Mr. Jones, Mondays at 6 to 8 p.m. Teaching you life lessons, business strategies, and leadership.
Let's grow together. Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
All right. Let's see. What is this? Nah, I refuse to smoke cigarettes. I did that for a long time, and I'm so glad. It's been almost 10 years since I've done that. This is virus. Base-infused e-liquid excision virus. All right, so let's see. Before we kind of got off on a tangent there, we were talking about Celsius, right? And I think we kind of covered everything we needed to cover about Celsius. Again, the thing is that if you're in warm season grass, especially Bermuda and Zoysia, Celsius in and of itself is a good product. But I'm telling you, the big heavy lifter there, is when you can combine that with Revolver. That's when you can get some real serious action out of it. And in terms of product diversity, that's why something like Tribute Total, which is based on Celsius, is still so effective. It's incredibly effective because you get to capitalize on each piece of that. You get broadleaf action, some grassy weed action. If you've ever sprayed Celsius on POA, for instance, you'll see it turn yellow. You're not really going to get control of POA with Celsius until it gets to be hot outside. When it gets hot, then you can go blanket it, and boy, it starts to turn it on. Now, if you're looking for the equivalent in cool season grass, in my opinion, look at Barry here. I live in the Communist Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Oh, man. That is funny. It reminds me of the guy I know out in Maryland. And boy, he's got some firm opinions about everything that's going on out there. But they're also taking away his right to treat lawns, and so I get it, man. I get it. I think he's in Frederick, Maryland. I can't remember, but he's in that county where they actually banned the use of any pesticide. Any pesticide. Lawn care in and of itself, where it's supposed to function however it's supposed to function, has been eliminated wholly. WHOLLY? Wholly? In its entirety. Unless you're doing things 100% organically, like using, what's the fun one? Starts with a Fiesta. Fiesta Nueva. They are although your comment there was pretty funny. And it's not that effective. Now, there's some strategy behind using it and all this fun stuff, and the way you can do it here and the way you can do it there. You might be able to get it to somehow or another, or time it in certain years and all this fun stuff. Maybe, okay. But The reality of the situation is that you're not going to be able to adopt that as a general program across the board and do so in the way you've been doing things. You kind of have to alter the entirety of the approach. You have to alter the entirety of the approach. How do you do that? That's a great question. I don't know. I've never been forced into a situation where I have to go all organic with post-emergent weed control. So I don't have the experience. I don't have the desire to even attempt it. I've done a little spot spraying here and there, and I know I paid a significant amount of money for like a gallon or however much a Fiesta I got. Yeah, it was a gallon. And I mean, nothing. I could take the leaves off of a dandelion, but I wasn't really killing it, kind of deal. You know, you turn it dark, you turn a weed, a nice shade of black, kinda dark green, blackish. It looks like iron toxicity because that's all it is. It's a chelated form of iron, and you would apply it at such a rate that it's toxic to the weeds. Specifically to dicots and not toxic to monocots. So if you're in that area, say you're dealing with some Dallas grass, you have no option at that point except to go after it outside of a selective weed control product. And the problem is, except for a non-selective, but the problem is that you don't have any non-selective weed control products to go after it. So at that point, you have to take a giant leap of faith and use something that's going to burn the surface of it, like baking soda. How many people have seen the experiment where you take the baking soda and you shake it out over a piece of Dallas grass and you watch it wither and wilt away? But it takes out everything around it as well. Has anybody out there ever, when I was a kid in our house, whenever you had an upset stomach, we would drop baking soda into water and then drink it? How many people have done that? Raise your hand. If you've ever taken too much of that, you know what I'm talking about. When you do, you have problems. You have gastrointestinal problems. And the reason why is that you spike the sodium content in your blood so high, so quick, that it acts as a diuretic, and your body's trying to get all the water out of it as quickly as possible, by any means necessary. So if it does that to the human body, what is that going to do to your plants? Well, it's going to expel the water out of a plant, and it doesn't matter if it's a piece of St. Augustine or a piece of fine fescue or tall fescue or Bermuda grass. It's going to suck all the water out of it and cause it to burn up. Will it recover? Well, it depends on the type of plant you do it to. If it's on Bermuda grass, the surrounding grass will grow back into it eventually, assuming all the sodium in it leaches out. But if it's a bunch type grass, like a tall fescue, no, it's not. It's a dead spot, and it's just going to be there. And in fact, you're not going to be able to get it to grow back in that area until, again, it leaches back out. That's just kind of the name of the game when you're trying to go after these things in an organic way. It's, in my opinion, it's not feasible, it's not scalable, it's not applicable, it's not something we should be doing. Let the researchers figure out a way to make it happen, or new products come onto the market, or whatever the case may be, and then run with it. But just, good friggin' luck. All right, I got to take one more break, and then when we come back, we'll move right into the last segment. You're listening to Turf's Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Turn existing irrigation systems into organic fertilizing, safe pest repelling machines with the Pro Products Green Feeder System. Irrigation contractors are leaving less money on the table and increasing profits with this easy to install, easy to maintain, unlimited recurring revenue opportunity. Call 800-285-9176. 800-285-9176 and mention Turfs Up Radio for an exclusive offer, or visit proproducts.com to learn more.
Hey everybody, it's Brooke Ford, host of the Green
Eric
Veteran here on
the Turf Teacher Jones. The morning show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. And keeping up with Mr. Jones, Mondays at 6 to 8 p.m. Teaching you life lessons, business strategies, and leadership.
Let's grow together. Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Hey everybody, this is Hecubus from the Nightcap. I'm just sitting here relaxing within the vault with my friends and a tasty, tasty pint. You should stop by and listen in sometime. I'm here every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, live only on Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Are you a military family with a spouse on deployment away from home? Did you know that nonprofit Project Evergreen has thousands of volunteers across the country ready to help military families with lawn, landscape, and snow removal services? We call it Green Care and Snow Care for troops. If you are a military family and would like to receive this free service, or if you'd like to volunteer to help, visit projectevergreen.org. Project Evergreen, creating a greener, healthier, cooler Earth, 1 yard at a time.
I always end up catching that right at the end of the song when I come back. I got to be better at timing on that. It's about enough of that song, we'll say right here. Y'all, we are moving into the time of the year. We're on the back 40 here, approaching the end zone for the end of the year. But here's the reality of the situation. What we're actually approaching is the end zone right now. These are the final steps you need to take to get ready for the kickoff to start the season. For you cool season guys, even for warm season guys, it starts with putting it to sleep. It starts, the work you put in right now is going to be the determining factor of the success you have next season. In warm season grass, it's an application of Spectacle or a good pre-emergent program to get you going for what's going to happen next spring. If you don't execute successfully right now, imagine what your yard is going to look like coming out of winter dormancy. If you wonder, go hop on my Instagram somewhere and take a look at the picture. That was me taking a season of not applying a fall pre-emergent. That's what it turned into. For the cool season guys, put the lawn into a chokehold. That's what I'm talking about. For the cool season guys, we're coming up on overseed season. So for those of you, especially with bunch type grass or anybody that's dealing with bare areas in their Kentucky bluegrass or whatever the case may be, we're moving into seed season. It's time to do the work necessary to set you up to have the density required to make sure you've got the coverage to reduce the weed pressure and ultimately give you the most aesthetic lawn starting next spring that you can possibly have. It begins now. We are in the final stretch. If there's ever a time to take it easy, now is the time to get your rest. For those of you in lawn care, what you need to be gearing up for is the biggest marketing push you can possibly make right here in the fall that you can afford to make. Because the more customers you pick up right now, they're going to be 10,000 more times satisfied doing the work right now versus trying to fix everything in the spring the next year. Beast Mode said, I'm so scared because the window time is so short and this is my first overseed. I don't know where you're at, beast mode, but if you're saying your window is short, I assume you're somewhere up north, maybe Minnesota, North Dakota, Upper Peninsula of Michigan, something like that. And you're right, it is short. But here's the reality of the situation. And the part you need to focus on, when you're doing your overseed project, give yourself the best chance possible. So if aeration is your project, just make sure you get the good aeration. Go three directions, go 4 directions. Maximize the number of holes per square foot. And understand that when you do aerate, when you do that work, it's going to look like hell. And that's where the whole premise of establishing new seed to take care of the damage you just caused comes in. Seed to soil contact is the first piece of it. However you should choose to do so. Do not till your lawn. If anybody out there says till your lawn, don't do it. Oh, beast mode, you're in Greensboro, North Carolina. You got a large window. You really do. Realistically, in your area, I mean, you're Pete and GCI Turf's area. You got a large window that you can do. I mean, you're not too terribly different from where I am in Knoxville. So, you've got the window of really September 1st until first week of October. After the first week of October, you can get it done there, but you're not gonna reap the reward of that until the next spring, usually. So I wouldn't be nervous about it. Just do what you're supposed to do in terms of what that work entails. Do the best job you can when you aerate. Don't skimp. If you got bare spots, take you a little garden weasel to it. Use the best seed that you can. Apply your starter fertilizer. And make sure you apply adequate water. You don't have to overthink it with the water and wonder, oh man, it's been 2 weeks. Do I need to start cutting it down now? Just don't let it get too dry. And you'll be able to tell once it comes up if it's too dry. It's real easy to tell. It'll literally start to needle. It'll go from green baby fine hairs to yellowish needled up fine hairs. Then you can kind of set it and forget it. And listen, the majority of the aerations I did here in Knoxville, these are all non-irrigated lawns. So you just put the work in, and then you just pray that when the rain starts, everything's going to be good. And I have to say, the majority of the time it was. And you're in that area, beast mode, where I wouldn't worry too much with it. Do the work on the aeration, use the right seed, get you a starter fertilizer down, and worst case scenario, let the good Lord take care of the rain, and you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Craig said, how do you kill bamboo? Prayer. So I'll give you a couple of different options. One of the things you can do is you could run some deep trenches into the ground and install copper plates. That's one way. That's not always feasible. That's not always fun because you have to start on the outside of the bamboo and then install, and then they'll be contained into an area. What you can do at that point is continue to put in more plates and more plates and more plates. We're talking about thousands of dollars of an investment here, but long-term strategy, that may be your best bet. And then actually kill the stalks that are growing. You want to cut them. So you're going to have 2 notches that occur, right? So as you're looking up the stalk, you're going to have a notch and then a period of growth and then another notch, right? What you want to do is cut underneath that first notch and then fill it with concentrated glyphosate in the center of it. That's really the best thing you can do. You can try and make an application of triclopyr over top of it too to help things out. That's that's really all you got, man. Hack and squirt with the glyphosate is, I did a big project one time, and it took realistically multiple years to do this, but it was literally hacking it and filling the stalk with glyphosate concentrate. One of the easiest things I found was to take like a mustard container or a ketchup container that you get, fill that with glyphosate, and as I made my cuts into the stalks, I would squeeze bottle it in there and fill them up. Is that 100% effective? No, but it's probably the only thing we have in our arsenal that's going to work. Bamboo is very, very difficult to control, and it's considered invasive for a reason. It takes a thunderous approach to get it taken care of. The corona is coming back to get me. Beast mode, thank you, good sir. No, man, you'll be good. You got this. If there are parts of the country that are easier than others, I'm not going to say we have the easiest part of the country, but we do have an area that is very conducive for seed establishment. Now, we lose that conducive nature of tall fescue when it gets to be June and July through September. That time period, it's kind of a pain. But outside of that time frame, it tends to do fairly well. Now, I tell you what was kind of interesting too is I never managed much tall fescue in Memphis, Tennessee. And there was a little bit. Normally, you would see it in the shade areas. Cindy's cough counting. That was like 4 or 5, Lushy. So in Memphis, normally you would see it in the shade areas, right? You move into these neighborhoods that are old and established. Well, I say old, they're not that old, but they're at least established. You got big trees there, and Bermuda's the primary turf type there. But of course, it's not going to grow Bermuda grass in the shade, no matter what you do to the tree. It just ain't going to happen. And so he's actually built kind of a niche, being able to manage tall fescue in Memphis, and I thought that was a really cool thing to take on. One of the more difficult to control turf grasses, develop a program that's working well for it, and then use it to your advantage of becoming that niche person. Niches bring riches. It was what I read in an article the other day. I thought it was silly, but Barry Kavanaugh said, is that bamboo you're talking about also called Japanese knotweed? No, it is not. Completely different there, but equally as difficult to control, that is for sure. Rona X. That's exactly what it sounds like. Yeah, I get up here and I try, which you probably can't tell, but I scream into this microphone for 2 hours, so it gets a little rough up here. God, do it, Lushy, do it. Just go ahead and suck another beer down. I'm going to continue drinking water. Even though it is Friday, I've got an early morning tomorrow to do a couple of the things I plan to do early in the morning. What else? Let me see. Let me kind of tiptoe through to the Twitter sphere real quick and see if there was anything I saw that was interesting. No, I don't see anything here. Kind of some interesting seed projects with Mountain View and bentgrass seed there. Always a good look. They are doing bullworm moth trap catches down in the Mississippi Coag. What is this? This is the County Extension Service. So they have caught in Manila, wherever that is in Mississippi, I don't know, 256. And I don't know if you've ever seen a container, one of these traps that's just full of these moths. They're huge to begin with. And boy, it is disgusting to see all those things together. My question is how do you get rid of them? I guess you dunk that in soapy water and use that to expire them and then roll with it. Let's see here. I have one that has stopped the weed on weed violence. I have no idea what's going on there. I kind of want to hop over to Reddit and see what's going on in the no stupid questions thread. That's always my favorite. Oh, yeah, that's right. The first vehicle hop for Starship, if anybody's into that. Again, I admitted earlier on the show I'm a Elon Musk nerd. The C in CRRP is COVID. That is funny. But if anybody's into the whole space program and all that fun stuff, they launched the Starship up to 150 meters and then landed it back on the ground which I thought was really freaking cool. Because that's a big ass rocket. I mean, it is big. And as this thing was taken off from the ground, I mean, it looked like a grain silo. Speaking of grain silos, harvest season is about upon us. Not quite. We're still a little bit ways away, but it ain't too far, especially for the guys up in the north that are growing that 70, 78-day corn. It's coming up, and I don't know about y'all, but one of my favorite things to watch are these videos during harvest season, because especially guys up there that have to get it all out of the ground and harvested before the snow and the frozen soil sets in. I mean, it is just such a grind. I love watching it. For those of you that are looking for a place to start, I highly recommend. What is this? My stream ended. Is this right? Is this messing with me? Oh no. Yeah, it is messing with me. That ain't the right one. I highly recommend the Minnesota Millennial Farmer. That's a great place to start. And then who else? That's where I'd start. And if you're looking for a show that you can get into, shout out to Chris Elms for turning me on to it. It's become somewhat of an addiction. But the Corn Warriors on YouTube as well. And shout out to the producer there, Seth Woods. He's a hell of a guy, super nice guy. And he's done a great job with that program altogether. All right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. Y'all have a fantastic weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Leaves you wide open. No limits. Say hi to all your loved ones, and damn it, have a good time. I love you all. We'll see you on Sunday. See ya!